Greetings, brothers and sisters. So, I don't know what's going on with the YouTube and their monetization. They flagged my video and reviewed it and said that it was because of vulgarity. And I went through it. I didn't swear once. Like, it's, bizarre. They allow some swearing, especially more towards the end of the video, but, whatever. And so I went through it. I took a few things out. I re-uploaded it. That didn't work. And then I thought it was maybe, I redo the Britney humping the pole thing. So I thought it was that. So I beeped that out, and they still flagged it. And then I took that out altogether and put in something that was already up from another video, some of my old Britney dancing stuff. And they didn't, they flagged it again. So I'm just going to put it up unmonetized. For me, it sucks, but I just want to, I can't figure out what's going on here with it. So here's the Britney video, the original one. Greetings, brothers and sisters. So Kanye's still absent. Got a bunch of things to get to, Hunter Biden stuff. Maybe it's the main thing, but a bunch of other things. And then I think I'll probably not finish this video till tomorrow, so I'll be adding things at the end like I did today. So I'm starting these videos like at the end of the day. I don't know. Do I really? I don't think anybody cares. But first, a meme. My plans 2022. And so, like, even the shape of her jaw has been changed. And please don't tell me it's not the same person, because I don't agree with you, and I'm tired of those types of comments. Court papers show Gillibrand's father worked for NXIVM sex cult. So this is Christina Gillibrand, who court documents revealed this week. We confirmed that the father of 2020 Democratic presidential hopeful, Christine Gillibrand, once worked as a lobbyist for a secretive sex cult, but left after the upstate New York group sued him, according to the report. She has more donors, or she did the last election cycle, of big banks in Wall Street than any other politician. And she was the one who was trying to push for economic reform, right? But it's just not this is not some big revelation. They're all intertwined and connected. Walls closing in, Biden family scheme unravels. And so the New York Post has been all over this Hunter Biden fiasco.
Miranda Devine joins us now. She broke the Hunter Biden laptop scandal back in 2020, and she literally wrote the book on it and continues to report on it. One of the things that you've been reporting on, Miranda, is that the White House continues to insist that Joe Biden had no knowledge or involvement in Hunter Biden's business dealings. Yet you and some of your colleagues pointed out 12 particular occasions when it appears he did.
12 of them.
Well, that's right. I think it's really not a sustainable line for the White House to continue to bat away questions.
Yeah, of course it isn't, but that's what they have to do. Because as soon as he says he had knowledge of it, then he becomes a traitor. Because he had dealings with foreign governments and foreign companies and things like this, and profited from them, from his influence as a politician. So if he says he's not involved, the minute he says he's involved, then his presidency is over. So it's a great strategy, especially when the other news networks aren't covering this.
Questions about Joe Biden's involvement in his son Hunter's business dealings by saying continuing on with the line that Joe Biden told the American people before the election, which is he knew nothing, because even
that, like I said in my other video about that, like he has to know something, right? He's got a crackhead son. He's just saying, "Oh, do whatever you want. I just don't want to know about it," right? Like as a politician, and as all the handlers and people in the Democratic Party and the media won't allow you to take that position, right? And so for him to say, "I don't know, I don't know anything about it." Oh, he's laundering money with his paintings. I don't know anything about that, right? Like, well, we do. He's not my kid, right? And so let's just go to the article here. If the grand jury in Delaware investigating Hunter Biden's business ventures does its job properly, it will be pulling on the threads that lead to the president, and already there are signs that is happening. Well, only if they want to get rid of him. When that happens, I'll believe you, right? But up to now, I don't think that's going to happen. So, not to be outdone and outworked, this fine journalist, right, Mika, is definitely covering the president's son.
Meanwhile, the New York Times reports former President Donald Trump's eldest son sent the White House chief...
That's the wrong president's son. Not that Donald Jr. isn't a creep and sucks, but he's not a crackhead. His business dealings aren't nearly as bad as, Hunter's.
The staff, a text message 2 days after the 2020 presidential election that laid out strategies for declaring...
Like, this is literally the same sort of thing. They have one of his text messages, and they're using that as big news in MSNBC of a president who no longer is a president, right? A past president. And they're making this a story. When you have a whole laptop full of seedy, crack-related, business-related, all stripper-related, just all these things, hooker-related, and Hunter Biden's videos and all of his emails, and it's filled with, just the worst sort of stuff. In the way that the laptop came into existence where he was high on crack, this is the president's son, high on crack, drops his laptop in the tub, then drops it off at a computer store, forgets all about it, and the hard drive is sent to the FBI and makes its way into, some levels of the media. That's the huge story here. The actual president's son and his business dealings and his crack addiction and how that affects his president, the president. That's the story. And they're trying to, read this guy's emails, right?
His father, the winner, regardless of the electoral outcome. People familiar with the exchange said on Friday. The text was sent...
Like, how pathetic that you're focusing in on this. Like, how much of a just absolute shill and a hack are you in your network?
By Donald Trump Jr. 2 days before Joe Biden was declared the winner of the election. It's very simple, Trump Jr. wrote to Meadows on November 5th, 2020. He wrote at another point.
Okay, so this is, I'm not saying this isn't news, but it isn't 100th of the story that Hunter Biden's, crack addiction and his business dealings are. So if you Google Hunter Biden and you go to the news, this is, of course, New York Post, right? The Yahoo News has a little bit, New York Post again, Vox, The Hill, these are all right-wing leaning. This isn't even anything here. Her nephew, Hunter. So this is the wrong Hunter. This is the little kid Hunter, the grandchild Hunter, right? Like that's USA Today. They're covering the little Hunter, the grandson Hunter. None of these things, right? So there's no mainstream media coverage of this. Only Fox. Here, Newsweek, Jared Kushner. Jared Kushner Saudi revelations compared to Hunter Biden laptop, except Jared Kushner isn't a part of the White House anymore, right? The sitting president is the important one. If you Google Donald Trump Jr., here's CNN. They're all over his text messages. CNN, New York Times, Yahoo News, Columbus Dispatch, right? Here's one. Atlantic writer who called Hunter Biden laptop not interesting enough to cover harped up Donald Trump Jr. This is Fox News, of course. Okay, so they're making the same point, which sucks because they suck. Donald Trump Jr. called out for claiming image of Mickey Mouse is sexually explicit. Vanity Fair, The Guardian. It's just across the board here, right? And so we already know MSNBC just did a video on it. And so this is the way the media works now. They're not going after the story they should be going after, which is Hunter Biden. And Delaware, which is a Biden state, is investigating him, as are it just doesn't feel like it's something that's going to go anywhere. Chris Rock says he isn't ready to speak about Will Smith yet. I'm not talking about that until I get paid. Is he expecting a settlement or some big interview? I don't know. But, Jada Pinkett Smith makes first public appearance since Will's Oscar slap. Here she is. She's the one with the lack of hair. Samuel L. Jackson is somehow involved. I don't know what this is about, but she was out about. Will Smith is still in hiding, and he isn't even going on Instagram. So I started this video yesterday before the news about Britney's pregnancy, so this is why it's coming in the middle here. I've been doing that for, I don't know, a week or so. I think it's a good way to, I'm always shifting things, always mixing things up, right? Sam Asghari confirms Britney Spears' pregnancy after shocking announcement. Britney Spears' apparent pregnancy announcement leaves fans confused. We'll get to that in a moment on Instagram. CNN is even covering Britney Spears says she's having a baby. This is her official Instagram. She's an artist, a mama, pray every day, chef in the works. And so there's a flower there. And is this the post here? Yeah. I lost so much weight to go on my Maui trip, only to gain it back. And I thought, geez, what happened to my stomach? My husband said, no, you're food pregnant, silly. So I got a pregnancy test, and well, I am having a baby. 4 days later, I got a little more food pregnant. It's growing. If the two are in there, I might just lose it. So apparently she's married and she didn't tell any of us, right? She didn't tell any of the Free Britney army. She just got married and just, said it casualty in this pregnancy announcement. I obviously won't be going out as much due to the Paps getting their money shot of me, like they unfortunately already have. It's hard because when I was pregnant, I had prenatal depression. I have to say it's absolutely horrible. Women talk about it back then. Women didn't talk about it back then. Some people considered it dangerous. A woman complained like that with a baby inside her. If a woman complained like that with a baby inside her. But now women talk about it every day. Thank Jesus we don't have to keep the pain a reserved proper secret. Multiple emojis. Don't have to keep the pain reserved proper secret. Most of them I've already read that. This time I'll be doing yoga every day, spreading lots of joy and love with exclamation points. Something here, Andrea McLean. Paris Hilton, congratulations, sis. I'm so excited for you. Love you all. This person, the new classic. Couple emojis. Love you so much. You got this. You got this, girl. Girl, you got this. Baby, one more time. Baby, one more time. People being redundant. Britney, congratulations. There's nothing worse than people leaving comments saying, leave Britney alone. Like I've gotten, I don't know how many comments. People think it's funny to repeat something that died years ago. Oh my God, Britney something in Spanish. Not going to try it. Congrats, so happy for you. Wow. Congratulations. Is she that's somebody from Jersey Shore, I think. I love you. Congratulations. iHeartRadio, the whole radio station's congratulating Britney. I guess they're not as confused as the New York Post would lead us to believe. And how does this affect me, right? And you all, because I think pregnant Britney, this one, she rolls around half naked in the sand. There's lots of weird stuff here. A little flower. There's that demon dog with the weird blue eyes. There she is, giving kissy face with one of her pals. She's naked in the pool with her pal, giving a hug. There's a dog drinking out of a straw, having some coconut water. Good for it. Life's not bad. They're in Hawaii with her puppy. And here she is. Stop, right? Now, what about things like this? You won't see things like this anymore, right? Swaying back and forth, left, right. Look, got my leopard skin on, touch my head, and swaying back, forward thing, with left, right. Uh-oh, got a hat on. That's my hat. Look, my hat. I'm wearing a hat. Okay, took my hat off. Hey, changed my outfit. Here I come back, swaying back and forth. This way, that way. Walking toward you, this way, that way. Left, right, left, right. There's my leopard thin again. I put it back on. There it is. There, left, right. Here I'm close up. Ooh, I'm walking toward you, left, right. How are we going to do this when she's pregnant? And then, I mean, she's not going to be able to do her dance anymore. Hands in the air, hands in the air, hands in the air. Hump the pole, humping the pole, humping the pole. Pull my dress down, humping the pole, humping the pole. Wiggle my bottom, pull my skirt down, put my hands in the air, wiggle my bottom again, turn around, hi, big silly, I'm just being silly laugh, walk around, things in hands, hands in the air, humping the pole, humping the pole, humping the pole. Pull my skirt down, humping the pole, humping the pole. They're not going to be able to do that to the end of this, right? I can't imagine that, I mean, that's the end of that bit for me. People think that, like I'm some sort of source of Britney news. Like whenever anything happens to Britney, I get so many messages, but I really don't know very much about Britney other than the last year or so when I've been covering her, last 2 years maybe. But that's it. Like the dancing has gone, and I don't know. She's going to be a mom again. And let's just pray that they get a really good nanny, because otherwise that kid or multiple kids are going to suffer. Ireland Baldwin shares selfies of getting a type of liposuction on her chin. I have a lot more compassion for Ireland Baldwin because she was born into it, right? She isn't, she didn't do this to herself. She was born into a celebrity family, and when she was getting panic attacks, which sound pretty horrible, because she drank coffee, and when people said, well, why are you still drinking coffee when, it does this to you? And she said, because I'm a silly goose, I was willing to be more generous with my coverage. Here's Stephen Baldwin, her uncle. Hey. So apparently she's had some plastic surgery on her chin. And there's somebody else here. These are the cousins who face tight together, stay together. Shout out to Dr. Michael Kim. So she's gotten some sort of, I don't know what it is. I don't know what that is. So she's a little bit crazier than the rest of the Baldwins, but she has a lot of issues. And she's Alex's daughter. She has panic attacks. She has to carry she does things like this. She has to carry around with her some sort of, is it a heart monitor or something like this? Because she has these attacks. Probably the coffee is part of that. And she's always worried about having like a heart attack, so she's monitoring her pulse and her other things. She has these panic attacks. So this is what happens when you are a daughter of Alec Baldwin. Kim Kardashian and Kanye West didn't speak for 8 months. It started a divorce. Kanye West and Channing Jones take vacation to luxury resort Mammoth Girl in Utah. Utah's a wonderful state. I was there for a while. There's no pictures here of Kanye. I don't know, is that where they have their horses? This person's Instagram, Channing Jones, she's the Kim Kardashian lookalike. There's some music playing. There's no evidence that Kanye's even involved. They're riding horses and going through, I don't know, some of the canyon lands or whatever it is in Utah. And so there might be Kanye or could not be, right? He might be there, he might not. We don't know. Is he in a reprogramming center? But this is the first time we've heard of him. Jones 24 teased on Instagram story Saturday that she and West 44 were taking a vacation, and Page 6 learns exclusively that their pair made their way to luxury resort Amagirl in Canyon Point. So I don't know if that's a treatment center or something else. Who knows? Kim Kardashian felt a zing when she first kissed Pete Davidson on SNL. Kim Kardashian admitted that she felt a zing after she kissed her new boyfriend, Pete Davidson. Whatever, when we kissed, I was just like, it was a stage kiss, but it was a little zing. That was him sucking your plastic artificial Barbie soul out of your body. That was the school sucking your artificial silicone soul out of your body. I'd be worried about that zing if I were you. Kim Kardashian threatens to burn Ray J's former manager over sex tape. Kim Kardashian wasted no time getting her pit bull attorney on the phone when she saw rumors of a second sex tape between her and Ray J on the internet. During the premiere of episode of her family's new Hulu series, The Kardashians, the Skims founder finds a teaser on St. Roblox game and immediately calls Marty Singer after learning that Ray J's former manager, Whack 100, why would a guy named Whack 100 be associated with a sex tape, is threatening to release unseen footage. Over my dead body. Is her body dead because it's got all the silicone in it? Does that qualify? Whatever. Over my dead body, this is happening to me again. I know the right attorneys this time, and I'm not going to let this happen to me again. She's a billionaire now because of the sex tape, because, that's what made the family famous. Kanye said that it was her mom that pushed it out there to sort of pimp out her daughter to, get them attention, right? I just watched the Pam and Tommy Lee show, and just the depravity around, like all that, the Hollywood depravity and all of it, right? It's just the slime of the internet. Whatever, I have all the time and all the money and all the resources to burn them all to the effing ground. I'll call Jillery. Where's Jillery? I'm going to call Jillery. I'm going to call Jillery. She's not taking any stuff. Plus, she's got this thing on her arm. And she just felt a zing, right? Like, Pete Davidson is giving her zings every time he sucks a little bit more of her silicone soul. Is Brittany Griner a Russian hostage? What we know about her detention doesn't support the theory that this was just a routine arrest. So this is a WNBA basketball star who was arrested for having cannabis oil, and I don't know if that's CBD, right? But this article talks about how Russians are being taken hostage all over the world. I mean, this is particularly right before the Russian invasion, and so there's going to be a time where it's going to be difficult to travel as Americans because we're going to get blamed for a lot of bad stuff that's going to happen. Right now, when you go travel, Americans are wanted because of the American dollar. But that won't always be the case. And I don't know what this is about. And, they're saying that, I don't know. But the other piece to this is how a mysterious Putin ally, the Russian Gatsby, moves his billions. And so these economic sanctions are targeting rich Russians that may or may not be fans of Putin, right? They're seizing assets of people, private citizens, Russian citizens, globally now. Their yachts, their whatever it is. And you might say, hey, these rich people are, screw them, right? You might say, all right, well, they're just rich people with yachts. Yeah, sure. But if they seize their assets and they have, they're rich people, and over a war that has nothing, you can't go into a country and seize private assets from people who, they might not even like Putin, right? I mean, imagine if Biden did some horrible things and the world came together and started seizing American people's assets, and a lot of those people were Republicans that hated Biden, right? And so that's, it's concerning. All these economic sanctions are very targeted, and they're seizing private jets, they're seizing, anything they get their hands on, and these people have assets outside of their country, which are being seized, and they're not giving them back, right? They did this to Gaddafi. They seized all kinds of gold and all kinds of, whatever it was, right? Wealth out of Libya. And they call it, like whatever they're doing because, this is a bad guy. Gaddafi was loved by his people. I mean, he had a high popularity rate, and he did a good job for his people in the country. But they made up some BS reason to go in and invade, and they just grabbed a bunch of the wealth in the country. They said that they were going to help the citizens, that Gaddafi was torturing his citizens, which didn't pan out. British Parliament put out I've covered this in so many videos. British Parliament put out some sort of official document saying that the reasons that the UN and these countries, mainly America and France, but Britain was a part of it. I don't know if they got their fair share or they thought they got screwed, so they put out some official document talking about how it was made up reasons to get rid of Gaddafi, and then they looted the country, right? But when they start seizing billionaires' wealth, then how hard is it going to be to seize your wealth, right? If they start grabbing everybody's, personal, and this is about an economy that's collapsing. They're grabbing people's assets or their imaginary assets that are based in a debt-based system. And it's starting here, it started really in Libya and these other countries. I mean, it happens all the time, but now in Russia, because there's a lot of wealthy people in Russia, and, they have global wealth. People have global wealth. People have their wealth spread around, and they're just grabbing it. And, they can do that to anybody now and call it, we're doing economic sanctions, right, for your leader, like in your country, that has nothing to do with you. Whether you voted for the leader or not, or you have anything to do with it, they can just grab your wealth. I mean, they always could do this, but now they're doing it. And it's like it should be a major concern. See, when you have a debt-based economy, you have a usury system where wealth is debt, right? So everybody trading IOUs. So people have their assets are somebody else is promising that they're going to make good on something to you. That's our currency. Your currency is a promise to pay, right? And that is that the government is promising you that this money has value. Like it doesn't have it. You can't trade it in for gold. It's not backed by gold or something, even the petrodollar, which is collapsing now. And so you can't turn your legal tender in for something that has value. So it's just a piece of paper that has a promise behind it. And our government is, our system's collapsing globally. And most of the wealth out there, it's something like there's $60 trillion in total currency, and that might be exaggerating that. So the Federal Reserve says there's $2.1 trillion in print. So that's just dollars. I've looked up this before, and you get a lot of different answers because they don't know. But this one website says this. There's approximately $40 trillion in circulation. That includes all physical money and the money deposited in savings and checking accounts, which isn't physical money. That's digital. Money in the form of investments, derivatives, and cryptocurrency exceeds $1.3 quadrillion. I believe it's actually $2 quadrillion, right? And so there's $2 quadrillion of wealth. So they're saying $40 trillion in circulation, and that not only includes printed currency, but all the stuff that people think they've deposited. When you deposit money like a check, the check isn't currency, right? You understand this? Your check is a promise of one bank to pay another, your employer to pay the bank to pay you, all this stuff, right? It's just digital money that's in all these banks. So all of that is $40 trillion, and there's $1.3 quadrillion worth of wealth and promises to pay, according to this article, but I think it's at least 2 quadrillion. So 2 quadrillion is 1,000 trillion. Trillion is something you really can't conceive of in terms of money. 1,000 billion, because a billion is hard for people to conceive how much money that is. A billion's 1,000 million, trillion's 1,000 billion, and a quadrillion's 1,000 trillion. So it's just ridiculous amounts of debt, because all of this wealth is somebody claiming somebody owes them something and claiming that's an asset, right? So when you think, all right, the government owes, I've been paying Social Security, the government owes me Social Security, and it's going to be worth this much. I've put away money in a retirement fund, and my retirement fund, my pension, owes me this much money. So when I retire, this is what's going to look like. This is going to be my 401k. This is going to be my retirement. This is going to be my Social Security. And the government's going to provide Medicare for me, insurance or whatever, Medicaid. And so these are all promises. Your government making you promises that they're going to make good on the Social Security money you've been paying in, and they can't do it. They can't pay, especially the boomers now. There's not enough money coming in. I mean, there's only $4 trillion coming in taxes, and they owe 25, 30, 50 trillion dollars in promises of Social Security, right? You think you're promised Social Security. So you're including that as one of your assets. Your house has this much value and all these things. If you ever watched that movie Bugsy, I believe it's called, it is Bugsy Siegel. Warren Beatty plays Bugsy Siegel, and he's building the Flamingo Casino, the first casino that later is going to become Las Vegas, right? It's Las Vegas before it was Las Vegas. And, he's got connections. He's a gangster. He's got connections to Hollywood and all these people. And to build it, he ends up selling like 1,000%, right? There's only 100%. And he sells 1,000%. And they eventually kill him because, I mean, it's all these things where he sells more percent than he has. And that's our economy. Like, all these people think they have some number of shares, right? All the investors. And your shares have been diluted because it's, people are promised things and there's no way to deliver on those promises. Some people have been promised the same thing, right? And so the way they have to do it is, one, they have to devalue the currency. So if you think you have $1 million or $10 million in retirement or something, it's worth what $100,000 was 10 years ago or something like that, right? Dilute the value of the currency. So the promises aren't as, the promises to pay, you're promised that you're going to get all these assets, but they're not worth nearly as much. So that's one way, that's inflation. So inflation is one way to deal with this nightmare problem they have of way too much debt, way too much promises that can't be made good on, right? The other thing to do is just take people's promises. Take things that they've been promised and just tell them, F you, we're taking this. And that's what's happening in Russia, seizing their imaginary wealth, because it's imaginary. It's just a promise. It's not real. It's not tangible. And they can't deliver on it anyway. So these are the two things that are going to go on. They're going to seize people's personal whatever it is, and they can take it. They can take your land. They can take your, anything. They can just, it's not yours, right? The government wants to take your land, take your assets. They can just do it. Not just the government, all these, this global cabal. And it's starting with Russia because they want to get rid of all these, all they're on the hook for, right? Because they've made promises they can't keep. And your lifestyle, like your lifestyle is not, your lifestyle's out of stock, right? You can't have this lifestyle anymore. It's something you feel like you're promised. I mean, I talk about this. The original promise was that when people left the tribe and left their villages, and matriculated into the city, it was because they dried up your ability to live in a rural type of environment, right? On a family farm, a homestead, in villages, small towns. And they pushed everyone into the city, and they said, all right, look, you give up all your skills, you give up your homesteading skills, multifaceted skills, and you do one thing. You specialize in one job. You work whatever it is, 40, 50 hours a week, 60 hours, whatever it was back then. And we'll give you money, and we'll take care of everything else. This is a great system, so you'll never need those skills again. And now you need those skills, and your kids are like spending 9, 10 hours on the internet and, don't even know what a shovel is, right? So and that's where we are, right? This is the epitome of weakening the population and stripping them. It's like, animals in the zoo that no longer know how to be what they're supposed to be, right? And that's how human beings are. And the system that we're all 100% dependent on is collapsing. And those skills are, it's hard for people to even imagine accumulating those skills and work ethic to survive as a natural human being. And then, people don't get along either because you need a support system. You need your family, you need your extended family, you need your village, right? You need your tribe. And people just can't get along with just, their spouses, right? And so it's, a disaster waiting to happen. People have to come together to survive. And, even understanding what I'm saying, like you have to throw off your egotistical pursuits and, your desire to have privacy and be alone and isolate or whatever it might be. I mean, I'm an introvert. I understand this, right? And that you have to work in conjunction with other people and get over whatever personality, ego stuff that you have, in terms of like petty fights and things like this, and just, go full into it, working cooperatively to survive in a lifestyle that's much less than you have now. And so people aren't going to take that deal. Like when you just say, hey, what you were promised is gone, and the deal that you're going to get is way worse than it was, than what you think that you're owed, right? What you think you're entitled to. And people are just like, no, I'm not going to do that. And so there has to be an internal change, which is, what the Heartfulness system is about, which is, cleaning somebody's internal system and transmitting a connection, transmitting this energy that facilitates the connection, a deeper connection that goes directly to the source. And God's going to say, hey, look, the reality of your situation is more palatable because it comes from a divine source, which you are acknowledging that, all right, like this comes from beyond some planetary government promise. This is, a soul infused message, a divinely infused message. It's telling me I got to adapt, right? And, very few people are going to be willing to do that. Most people are just going to check out because it's too much of a change that's being asked of them, right? And this is the apocalypse. Only spirituality will save this world, is Paul Romano definitely reporting from the apocalypse and the ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.